Good morning. I wanted to welcome you all back and thank you for being so supportive of my whole process that I'm going through right now with Birth of a Unicorn. This is amazing, and we've already hit over 100 pre-sales, so thank you so much. That's, if you're counting, that's over $500 that we've raised for Serenzi Global so far. So that's amazing. I'm so, so proud of that. I cannot believe the support that we've gotten so far. I wanted to start out with that. That's just so amazing, and I'm so blessed to have such wonderful friends that are doing that. But we have a long way to go. We have 30 days left, and what I wanted to do is to express. I want to make sure that there is sound again, because it seems like I'm not hearing anything again. Is there? Yes? Awesome. Okay. So, so the next thing that I want to say is a big thank you to Publishizer for giving me the platform to do this. So thank you to them for sending this out. And after that, today what I want to do is talk about another thing that is important in the book that has come up a lot, that people have asked me over the years. When you're starting a business, how do you know that it's going to be successful early on? So I've been involved in a lot of businesses, and this book actually covers quite a few of them. And hi, Regina. One second. The businesses that I've been involved in, especially from early on, you can you know that they're happening to gain traction if you get customers, right? So you can always get your first customer really easy, because that's usually going to be somebody that you know personally. You can find this person. They're going to be your friend, your family member, your relatives, your support groups. These, like your church groups, these are going to be your first 1 to 10 customers. Getting like your first 100 customers, that's a little bit more difficult, because you're going to have to reach out a little bit further. So I mean, this is what we call traction, right? You can always find supporters. You can always find likes. You can always find people that are like, yeah, what you're doing is cool. But when you're starting a business, it's who is actually going to put down money? Who's actually going to buy those first 100 books? Who's going to buy those first 1,000 books? Who's going to put down the money? And you're always going to get rejections. You're always going to have so many no's. And they say that you get 99 no's for every one yes. And that's very discouraging. So what I'm going to talk about today is something called vanity metrics. So you can get really, really put by the wayside by chasing these things called vanity metrics. Here's an example of a vanity metric. You can have a lot of followers on social media. You can have 1 million followers on social media. And if not a single one of them has ever bought a product from you, then you have not monetized those users. They are not clients of yours. They are just fans. You can have a whole bunch of people that are that say they will buy your things, but until they actually buy something from you, they are not your customers. And you can be tricked into these vanity metrics. You can be tricked into thinking that you're successful by having a whole bunch of followers, by having a whole bunch of people that are your mentor, that are your advisor, that are really just sucking time away from you. So in this book, one of the stories that I cover is when I first encountered a vanity metric that really came back to bite me. Early on in my career, I was working for a game company, and there was a game that we had spent many years in releasing. Because games, by their very nature, take a lot of time to develop, and you really can't release them until they're done. I mean, you can, once you get to a certain point, you can release them as a beta test, and then players can use them. But until they're completely developed, really, you can't put them out. It's not like, I mean, it is actually a lot like software, but you can't release the product until it's almost entirely complete. So when we released this, this thing that we loved, that we'd worked on for a long time, people didn't want it. They came in and then they left. So people had to buy it. They decided they didn't want it, and then because there was not much traction, the rest of it got thrown into the bargain bin. And this was back when you bought computer games in stores, and there was literally a bargain bin that they tossed the remainders into. And the absurd example of this is the E.T. Atari game, where there was like a big pit in New Mexico, where they threw like millions of cartridges into. Ours wasn't quite that bad, but it felt like that. So the problem was, we did have people that had bought our game that we had to support, so we had to figure out how to get them to continue to play and to want to continue to play so that we could keep the lights on for our company. So I came up with an idea to create a mini game, and this would keep people inside the game long enough to engage them, to stay around for other people to play. And so what they did was, they came in and they played my minigame and they really loved it, and they continued to play that minigame, but it never got them into the actual game. Because the vanity metric here was, we got them in, we got them engaged, they were playing something, they were online, we saw the logins go up, we saw the active user count go up, we saw all of these things go up. What we were missing was a way to measure how long people were in our actual game, not how long people were online. And what it turned out was that these people now we were sacrificing our own costs. We were eating into our own revenue because it was costing us more money to have people sitting on our servers. It was costing us more money to have people sitting there. It would have been better for us to just ditch them and kill the game entirely. So we were chasing a vanity metric of active users. We were chasing a vanity metric of people logging in, when what we should have been doing was trying to figure out how to make the game itself better. And that's a really important lesson. Like, if people don't like the thing that you've created, you can pivot and create something that they do like. Like, they obviously did like the minigame that I created. There was something there. And if we had lasted longer as a company, we would have worked at that. Unfortunately, because we hadn't budgeted for that, we ended up having to shutter the company very soon. However, the thing that we created, the thing that we put all of our resources and effort and time into, is something that the customers just simply didn't want. And we were chasing the wrong metrics. So there were two things that were wrong here. One, we didn't have the right product market fit. We were going after the wrong people. And I noticed what these people did want, obviously, by finding a game that they did like. But obviously, those people weren't the right people for the game that we created for them. So what do you do when you have that problem? And that's something that is a theme throughout this book. It's trying to really get into the psychology of who you have as a user. It's trying to understand who you've got, who you're dealing with, and what their motivations are. And the only really way you can do that is to get to know them. And if you don't have that empathy, if you don't understand that, then you're not going to you're not going to be as successful as you can be. So yeah, in this book, it's a very, very different kind of business book. And as I mentioned, Birth of a Unicorn, the link is on the screen there. For the next 30 days, it's available for pre-order. 100% of the proceeds are going to Serenzi Global, which is a nonprofit. So if you buy it in the next 30 days, all of your money goes to help STEM research, or not STEM research, STEM education. Sorry about that. And we are using this as a way to raise awareness that we have a pipeline of people that we need more people trained in STEM for the coming. The world is changing, and we need to add more people into our pipeline that are specialized in STEM careers. And the only way that we can do that is to jumpstart that. So by using our experience, by using the people that we know that can train them, that are involved and passionate and interested in what they do and are experts in what they have done, we can train people to be as motivated and passionate about the future. So going back to the book, it's a really interesting thing. I mean, you notice I'm wearing an Evernote t-shirt. I have so many of them because there were many years that I was with Evernote, and even before that at the company before Evernote, and this book covers those years. So every day for the next 29 days, I will be coming in and telling you a little bit more of what is in the book, and I'll be doing about 15 minutes a day, giving you one or more stories a day about the future or the history of Evernote, the history of the stories around that, and I'm happy to answer questions if you submit them. So yeah, please support the book. We're trying to, our goal is to sell 1,000 copies because that will give us a lot of money. It's early, but it's roughly 50% of the proceeds go directly to, 50% of the sale price goes directly to the nonprofit, and the rest go to printing and service fees. So whatever the total cost that we raise from the book sale goes to the nonprofit. So if we sell 1,000 copies, it probably will be about $20,000 that goes to the nonprofit, which is going to be training a lot of people. So help me by the end of this month by sharing as much as you can, by buying as many copies as you can, by letting people know, or even by making a donation to Serenzi Global. It's a 501c3. But we want to get the message out there. We want to let people know about this, and so help us to reach our goal. Thank you so much. Have a good day.